About their progress.
Got some on there.
All right, that's all right.
How you think you guys worked up front today, Pat?
I don't know. I think we did all right. It was kind of sloppily played. This is my first game I started in 3 years, and about the first time I had about the jitters pretty bad. So I calmed down, did all right. I think overall we did pretty good. We'll find out Monday afternoon and watch films.
Good to have a week off now, so you can go back and correct it.
Oh yes, sir. That's going to help us more than anything this season. Is have this week off to let our offensive line regroup. Because up front we're pretty young. Because about 3 sophomores starting.
What do you think about Bob Hicks' play, having to go in and play the whole game practically?
I'm glad he did, not me, because I think I would have died on the spot. He handled it well. We had one play that was messed up, but he made it for a lot of other ones.
Good. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Quincy, you passed a blow or two out there today. One time I didn't think either one of you were going to get up. You remember that?
Yes, sir.
How you feel?
I feel great.
At the time, did it rattle you a little bit, or were you okay?
Yes, sir. I got a little dazed. I took a lick myself, and I also think I took a real hard lick. The guys out there at TCU, I got to give it to them. They play pretty hard football.
What do you think about your teammates on defense?
I think we did a pretty good job, and I think we showed the teams ahead that we will, in the future, games ahead, that we will have some hard games ahead of us, and we'll be ready for them when we get to them.
Good.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Edmund, did it bother you all to lose Shirey right there at the last minute?
It did. I was kind of dejected because we were all ready to go with Shirey being the #1 man, and he's practiced all this long time in the spring, and we just wanted him out there. He was a captain and everything, and I think it was a big loss for the team. But Coach Dye said right there when it happened, we're just going to have to pick ourselves up and go on and fight it out.
You were around the ball more than in a long time, it seemed to me. How did it seem to you?
I think so. We enjoyed it. We got around the football, and we created situations in the game instead of sitting back and waiting on them to happen. And I think it just proved that we've gotten a little bit more aggressive.
Thank you. Charles, you got something today to build on, didn't you?
Yeah, we look ragged in a couple of edges, Phil. I think we're going to get better, as far as offense goes. I think we turned the ball over too much, but we had a freshman center in there, and Mike Shirey, ruled ineligible right beginning of the game, which was a, big setback to us. But, we went out there and showed some guts and came through with a win.
You sure did, and the defense held you up a lot of times, too. That was good news, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, it sure feels good to have somebody, defending us like they did today. And they pulled us out of the trenches, like I said earlier, several times, which is going to help us win down the road.
Maybe you all can pay the favor back down the road, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
What it takes to become football players in a hurry. And I think we have, of course, I know we have a fine bunch of young men, and I think we have some real potential. And I thought that by now we'd be a lot further along toward a team. But on the other hand, when you go back and think of the outstanding football players and great football players we've lost in the last 2 years, but you just don't replace those overnight. And maybe I was expecting too much of our people, but right now, I think, first of all, like our kicking, I think should be adequate. Although Peter Kim, ex-point field goal specialist, has been ill, and he will kick today, good Lord willing, but he won't try it, and long kicks will not kick off. I think we'll probably have enough speed to have a pretty good kicking game. Of course, that's where you start. And I think we'll have adequate or better kickers. And then we go to defense, and of course, we lost some good defense, great defensive people. But I think that we can just have a couple come through, and it would be all right defense. And I think our secondary on defense, one deep, we're going to be very thin anyway, but one deep, our secondary should be good. And although, as I said, Wilcox is hurt now, been hurt, he won't practice anymore, and Perrin has bunged up some. But defensively, if we can just come up, we lost, I think, the two best ends on any one team in America last year defensively. And if we can just develop one swing man, an end or something there, I think we'll be all right, because Warren Lyles has had very little work this spring, but he's a great football player, and we didn't give him very much work. Wilcox was doing great till he was injured, of course. Harris had an excellent spring, and Castiles was all right, and Sprankle and Perrin. Sprankle probably had a little better spring than Perrin, but I would have to think that Eddie Lowe probably had little linebacker. He's awfully small, but a real good spring, and Edwards improved some, and so did Elias. We got to have a few more people. We're just a little too thin, but I think our defense will be all right, barring injuries and the people come along. So I'd rather be in this position. If our kicking is all right, the defense is all right, well, we got a good chance of keeping from losing. And you have to do that before you can win. But offensively, we didn't make much progress. First of all, I don't think our backs, our returning backs that they played, I don't think they blocked near as well as they had in the past. I don't think we had some injuries back there. But our halfbacks don't look like the same halfbacks you saw blocking last year. And we don't have a fullback that you bet your life on yet, but we do have some fine candidates. And Earl Collins has looked better than any of them. But Scott McRae is going to have to be contended with. And of course, the kid that had the best spring running probably any of them was Roosevelt Wilder. But in our offense, you have to block. And I think Timmy Clark improved it in, split in, and I think Keith Marks did a lot better. He was sick most of last year, split in. And our tight end was just so-so. Crouton Brown, big, and not very fast. Didn't seem to be working on getting any faster. That didn't encourage me much. We have a young end out there played quarterback in high school. I think it's going to be all right. And I was very disappointed in Keviak, who I thought by now would be a great football player, and I think still he would be. But that injury just dragging one knee around, just one leg, dragging it around. And a lot of people wouldn't be playing ball like he is. And Beasley has injury too, but I think he showed some improvement. And Adcock showed some improvement, as did Vickers and Jackson. But right now, as of today, if we were playing, I'm not sure I know who, well, I do know two, but I don't think we got any, very many, if maybe one, not over two at the most, winners across there. They were in football right now. meaning, of course, they better improve an awful lot if we're going to have a winning team next year. What we try to do is, with a numbers thing, we try to have 3 ends that we count as first stringers, or starters, and an extra lineman, down lineman, an extra linebacker, and 6 backs. In other words, 2. Offensively, we always try to have 2 full backfields at 2 ends. We consider those first stringers, really. Tackles, 3 tackles, 3 guards, or combination. Maybe we'll have 2 or 3 people. Whereas we can't if we just had a guy playing one position, to be able to play both guards or play guard and tackle on the same side or play guard in the center. We try to make I was that way. As mediocre as I was, I couldn't play with one side. But borderline people, because and I was one of them. I was worse than borderline. We spend the entire spring in preseason practice, the preparation for us. Not only they can, but Georgia Tech can too. Whereas if we played them where we're supposed to play them, they get ready for the wishbone. I think it's a little different. It's like when Bowden White was the last one I recall using a single wingback. He never did have quite enough time to get ready for it. But we sacrificed that, and it should hopefully help us in December or November, although it'll make the season awfully long. When we go to Penn State, I didn't realize there's no way to get to Penn State. So we'll have an extra day, though. And because we'll have a week off. And we'll go up a day early, which I don't like to do, but we will. And worked out very well at Washington and a few places. And then we have another week off before Auburn, and we won't have to rush back because we normally give them a couple of days off before we start practice anyway. I think our good football players, they're going to be, if I just put my finger on them, Crowd has lost a lot of his speed, of course. I don't think we have a top back right now, although I think we have a lot of potential back there. Offensively, we just don't have anybody that you can say he can go out and knock them on their back. That's bad. Defensively, I know that barring injury, Boyd's a great football player, and so is Lyles. And Jones had a real fine spring training. And I think Wilcox, we could have had some of them, like Fields have been hurt. He hurt his stomach. And of course, we haven't even worked with Caruth, and James Haney has been hurt, and he missed the game today. He missed the rest of the spring. He's been unlucky. Of course, he's not a quarterback, but I think I've seen enough of the quarterbacks that, as of right today, Cole is our first-string quarterback. We're gonna let him beat him out because he's bright, he's quick, he can run, and throw certain type passes. And I was hoping it would be Gray. Gray is one of the finest young men ever lived, and he's got a lot of class. I think he'll be a leader, and he can play several positions. I think he can contribute greatly to the team. And Lewis was pressing a little, I think, the last few days. At least I told him that. Trying a little too hard, but I think he's an excellent prospect. He'll be there someday. And Paul Fields. He's had very little practice since he's been here, but he'll stand in there and throw the football, and he's a Steve Sloan type. You see him if you run, he looks like he's stumbling or falling, but he's always going in the right direction. I think it's long every time I see him run. And of course, Andy Martin had a real big day last Saturday on the scrimmage, and we're gonna give them all a run at it. But we're gonna Monday, if we don't, something happened today to change my mind. Where we're gonna give Kohler. I think he will be our first-string quarterback until somebody beats him out. And we have freshmen we counting on very much for kicking. Now we have players out there. You see punting today. A kid named Simmons, I believe, is a pretty good kicker. And of course Clark. I think Timmy improved all areas this spring. And he'll be kicking off. And even playing the last game, I'd play the senior. Playing the first game, I'd play the junior. It'd get better. This cold weather's not helping Don's knee much. I asked him about it yesterday.